there, Videorama. See, I'm a mom, and I got 3 kids. 3 motherfucking kids. And they're always making me watch those goddamn movies where there's a goddamn lesson. I'm so tired of it. I don't want to learn something. So, do you have anything where, like, the viewer or maybe the characters, I don't know, where they learn the wrong lesson or something? Help me out here.
You like that? How I didn't record over the intro this time?
Oh.
Linda's can learn. Welcome back to Videorama, where we take your request for a topic and give you our recommendations. We received a message from a woman who is just, she's a mother at her wit's end, and she's tired of those goddamn movies with the morals in them. So she wants recommendations for movies where the viewer or the main characters learn the wrong lesson. My name is Linda, but you can, as always, call me the Cheese, or you can call me the Cheese.
That's true.
I'm Adrian, or you can call me the Cracker. Yeah.
And I'm Donnie, and you can just call me your local dealer.
We're not getting back to that, like where Adrian wants to be known as the Cracker. We're just going to let that go?
Cracker.
Okay, fair enough. So today we are covering my recommendation. And I was a bit inspired by, well, not a bit. I was totally inspired by Donnie's Halloween costume.
You mean Mr. Hyde, who came and visited us?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Mr. Hyde, who came to visit us. I wanted to discuss a movie that one could say formed my and my brother's personalities.
Our collective childhood.
One might also say that it's what screwed us up. Really, tomato.
They were, of course, referring to the Aristocats.
Obviously. But, I mean, Disney did fuck up a couple people, I'm going to say. It did fuck us all up to an extent. But no, today I'm talking about a beloved movie of mine and Donnie's. We're talking about Jekyll and Hyde together again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So excited about this. So, how to explain it? Well, I'm sure you're familiar with the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where Dr. Jekyll creates this serum, something that turns him into the primal, crazy, dangerous Hyde, Mr. Hyde. Well, in this one, Dr. Daniel Jekyll is a very promising doctor who is at the top of his career. Everybody reveres him because he's this amazing surgeon, but he wants to give up surgery to research drugs.
Well, the man's human behavior.
Yes. He wants to find a way that people can be healed, not through surgery, but instead by a drug that would tap into their most primal, basic human need to not die.
Make them heal themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Physician, heal thyself.
So he's keeping long hours. And I should also say there's a Howard Hughes type of character. So totally not Howard Hughes.
Balls!
Balls! Who's really old and decrepit, and he wants to have just like a total transplant of all organs.
Total transplant.
Yeah.
The world's first total transplant.
Exactly. And he wants Dr. Daniel Jekyll to perform the surgery. But then they find out that, he just announced he's not doing surgery anymore. And
Which really bums me out, man, because he's so bitchin'.
Like, for sure. He's so far out. So he is engaged to the daughter of the, what do you call him? The chief surgeon?
Head hospital type man.
Yeah, head hospital type dude. and he's basically telling Dr. Jekyll that he can't marry his daughter, Mary, unless he agrees to do the surgery. And meanwhile, he's just working really long hours, just working as a surgeon, but then after work hours, like, because he's always so concerned with his patients and getting them healed. But
and not getting laid.
And not getting laid, and not even like seeming to be interested in getting laid with his fiance. But we'll get to that. So after hours, he's working on his research for the drug, and he falls asleep on the counter while he's got a bunch of food, a straw for his drink for his supper, and the drugs that he's studying out on the corner or the counter. And
there's just a little bitty accident.
A little bitty accident. He while snoring, he inhales the straw in his nose and exhales the end of the paper covering on the straw, and accidentally snorts some cocaine. Like whatever drug.
If you're listening to this during No Straw, remember, too damn bad.
Yes, it is not so much questionable as it is high grade, pure Peruvian flake cocaine.
It is sparkly cocaine.
It's literally sparkly. It's Twilight cocaine. But good. And shortly after he does that, he becomes Mr. Hyde. And Mr. Hyde is an awesome late 70s, early 80s caricature of a cool, coked out guy.
He's a disco hard-on. Rings pop out of his fingers, earrings pop out of his ears. He all of a sudden has a gold tooth that says love on it.
Yeah.
And a gold chain with a gold razor blade.
Yeah,
yes.
He's got a goatee and his hair changes. Yeah.
And he's
really
got a
sweet
mustache.
Gary Dvorak music starts.
And he has like a mustache that's very reminiscent of Wario.
Yeah.
Oh, the truth comes out.
Now we know what inspired Wario.
But we also know what inspired us on our many vacations with our parents to go like sitting like a gargoyle on guardrails going
Babe.
And then you'd go and you'd snort horseradish with your coke nail.
Yes, often.
That's right. He
While
grows a
enjoying
coke
chicken
nail
sushi.
and a permanent hard-on.
Yeah.
But before he turns to, while he's still Dr. Jekyll, before he discovers Mr. Hyde, he has to help a patient in one of the scenes where they definitely could not do today.
Where she had a
you're talking about
object.
how it's 1982 and anti-Asian racism was the funniest. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it was anti-Asian.
Well,
but,
it was what was in the air back then, though. Like the
and it definitely
stereotype.
wasn't like yeah, it can't be done today.
They wouldn't do it
it's
now.
Pretty goddamn offensive.
The lady had a foreign object lodged in her V.
And the foreign object was all like Konnichiwa.
INA.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vagine.
So he meets Ivy, who has the foreign object stuck in her vagina, which turns out to be a Japanese man.
Visual gags.
This is the Zucker Abrams Zucker era of comedy right here.
Yeah.
So.
And I really like the visual gag part. I really like, but then it does get offensive where he's like, well,
that's after they remove it by getting a bucket of cold ice water to pour between them.
Yeah. And but he meets Ivy, the one with the foreign object stuck in her
now
vagina.
Dislodged.
And she tells him that he's pretty cute for a doctor, and it's weird because he's not interested in Mary, his fiance, very sexually, but Ivy comes along and he's just like like doing the trope of like I can't remember how to pronounce my name, I don't know how to talk.
Come on.
Yeah, pretty much. And she puts her pantyhose on his head, which I love. But when he turns to Mr. Hyde, Mr. Hyde wants to find Ivy, and she becomes his conquest. And he spends a night with her as Mr. Hyde. And he first he sees her act, and then
Ivy and the shitty rainbow.
Yes, Ivy and the shitty rainbows. Which I've wanted her like outfit, and like for the longest time she's got this dress or jumpsuit that lights up, and like at certain places, and a wig that has lights in it, and anyway, so it's at Madame Woo Woo's. Woo woo. The employees keep saying hi. And he says hi. And orders the chicken sushi.
Is this seat taken?
Yeah. And he
before that, I'm sorry, it's just worth mentioning when
please.
He steals a woman's car and he's tripping the fuck out while he's driving through a tunnel.
Yeah, everything has trails.
Turns Technicolor.
Yeah.
And then blocks a bus of people just to get into the bar.
And steal some guy's sports coat.
Yeah.
He looks pretty bitchin'. But Ivy says like, there's only one thing on your mind. You guys just want sex. And it's like, that's like all I think about is bed.
And the bed's the only thing in her room.
The only thing, just the bed. And anyway, so he introduces himself as Hyde, no last name because his parents lacked imagination.
Yeah.
And
she asked him if he wants to do it standing, sitting, leaning,
back ways, side to side.
Yeah. I want it always.
And so all that's in her room is basically just the bed, the bed linens, and her little bear that pretty much humps her leg.
But he's like super excited to see Teddy. He's like really happy when he waves to him. Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? It's like my Pookie.
It's true.
But so they have doings, and they do the freak nasty and the freaky sneaky, if you will. And he wakes up and her room is just full of stuff. And he wakes up with 2 pairs of feet to either side.
That's my feet, Jack.
Yeah. There is a black man in there, like one could suppose, by his voice. And on the other side is Ivy. And or is that the second time?
I think
I might
it's
be
the
getting
second
them
time,
mixed
but
up.
that's okay. It's the same story.
Yeah. Either way,
the first
he wakes
time is
up.
the goat's there, or the sheep is there, rather.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, how far in a man's depravity did I fall?
Ah,
It's like,
that far?
Obviously, we love it. So, and her room is now full of stuff, like blow up
And bills.
and
Just do
bills.
straight fucking. You need devices and tinsel.
I mean, obviously. And anyway, so they must have been getting down, doing a thorough job of it. And he feels terrible because, you know, of course he wakes up as Dr. Jekyll, and he feels bad, so he goes to his fiancée Mary.
He's running an equestrian course at a snooty country club and jumping over hurdles and shits, and
she's riding her horse named A Gift from Daddy.
A gift from Daddy. There's some ASMR for you guys.
He just feels
Daddy.
rotten, so he's got to keep up with her, and so he makes it through the whole course. He's running through hedges and jumping over hurdles, and
he wins.
Yeah,
and he wins. Yeah, and fuck that horse. It's all about
he
Jekyll.
probably would.
Oh!
But yeah, so kind of skipping ahead, he feels just so terrible, so he kind of I like he sneaks into her room.
Yes.
And because he just wants to make things better with her, and they make love.
No, they don't.
Oh, whoa.
It's like they start undressing. He's like, "I want you, Mary." It's like, "Oh yes," and they take off her socks, and he
You
takes
can
off.
tell,
his
like
pants.
she wants it bad. Like she
Yeah.
needs some doings.
But then like the lights go out, and then they come back because he's lighting up a cigarette. He's like, "That was so romantic." It's like,
That
we
was
didn't
so
do
beautiful.
anything.
Yeah, she's like,
You
she
left
says,
something out. Yeah.
Daniel,
Yeah.
don't you think you left something out? And he goes, no.
My favorite
That's
fucking part
Jekyll.
is her dad comes in the room with his shotgun. He's like, "I thought I heard the sounds of my daughter being defiled down here."
Rap
No, you
it.
didn't,
Daddy.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Or no, you're right. Defiled. You're right.
Yeah. And he's like, "I'm gonna blow your head off." He's like, "But I've decided to do the surgery." He's like, "You have?" Like, fuck your brains out.
Yeah. Fuck your brains out, kids. Defile away.
He doesn't care anymore.
No.
He doesn't. And, so then it just kind of becomes a struggle. And you get to see
He's
him
totally gonna throw
with,
that cocaine away.
He was. He really was.
and he's pursuing Ivy, and but his problem is getting worse. And where to go from there?
Well, he decides he needs to find out whose face is on a $1 bill. And
Oh,
this-
George.
yeah.
I'll
And
just
he
say a
also,
little bit.
because for science, he had to officially weigh all the cocaine he was going to throw away because
Yeah,
that's
that he was
scientific work.
He's
It's
being a
important.
2-year-old baby.
Yes. Which, for those wondering, the scientific weight was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But he does drugs again. and he becomes even more of a crazy looking man. And this is where he goes to another place our parents hated going with us after, which was the grocery store, where he starts looking for the love of his life. And when he finds her, he strikes a Cupid's pose.
He tries to ball Ivy on top of some produce. She says, "Hey, what do you think this is? A Kmart?"
Yeah. Let's make love on a bountiful fruit.
Yeah, so he's like basically as Hyde, he's a drugged out sex maniac. And
he's a regular customer at Safeway when they go to pay for her groceries.
Yes.
And there's a delightful little sight gag once they get outside. It's somebody who looks like Hyde is pushing an empty shopping cart. Then they turn to the side, and the shopping cart is wafer thin, and he's only Hyde on the one side.
Yes, because he was smushed by cars when Hyde entered the grocery store and threw him out of his way.
But yeah, and so anyway, you have Hyde, the coked up sex fiend, and then you have Dr. Jekyll, who's basically very prudish,
True blue,
and pretty much just like married to his work. And
yeah, he's helping out in the charity wing of the hospital, which is basically Victorian England.
Yes,
All the cobwebs and
Blue
candles.
Cross, man.
The smell of death.
Yeah.
Mary comes to visit him there, and you can tell it's just like, it's so like you've got the hospital, and which is the Our Lady of Pain and Suffering,
Which is very modern for 1982.
and then they open the door for the charity ward, and it's just like this dark,
It's these sad metal beds and wood paneled walls, and everything's covered in cobwebs and soot.
And Mary comes to visit, and one of the nurses, the old nurses, is something like, "Oh, hello, Miss Mary," and she goes, "Oh, hello, Crone."
Yeah. It's one of the great early sight gags in the movie, because it's after Jekyll is talking to her dad, and he's telling him how he's given up surgery, and he's like, "You don't think I would use my daughter to stop the marriage to get you to perform a surgery?" He's like, "No, I don't think you would." So her father starts laughing maniacally to the point that even after Jekyll leaves, you still hear him in the hallway on the floor laughing. And when Mary comes to visit him, he's still on the floor fucking laughing.
Yep.
Yeah. And so anyway, he's and I should say another sight gag in there is that his nurse who assists him in all of his surgeries is this big busty nurse
who wears lipstick on her mask,
on the outside of the mask,
and sometimes blush on the outside of her mask.
Yeah. And she's the one who's like, "Oh, Dr. Jekyll, you're so bitchin'."
And as it turns out, that's none other than one Miss Goddess Cassandra Peters, Elvira herself.
No fuck.
Yeah, but she can't. It's hard as hell because she has the mask on all the time.
Yeah,
and you can't tell that's her breast because she has sparkly nipples when he exposes them accidentally during his surgery.
You see Elvira's titties.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
You're forgetting who else's wonderful bust we get to see in this movie is Jack Death.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr.
Dr. Tim Thomerson.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Doug Masters' dad.
Did it mention Tim Thomerson's in it?
Yeah, we got fucking Tim Thomerson as the plastic surgeon.
Anyone up for a nooner? What's a nooner?
Which, of course, this was the 80s again. This film can never be made today.
This today sucks.
Today really sucks. And it's we're in a cancel culture, kids. But anyway, we find out that Tim Thomerson's character, Dr. Newt, is like Daniel's best friend and colleague. He's the plastic surgeon, and he likes to wear women's lingerie underneath his smock.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know,
find
that
this
was
out
fun?
while he's doing this breast enlargement, which goes too
Yes,
far.
he's doing the most amazing breast enlargement where this woman's breasts turn into large balloons.
Oh no, my husband's gonna love these.
Oh, Harry's gonna love these.
Come on, kids.
Yeah, but we learn this because Jekyll approaches him and tries to explain to him what's been happening, and that he becomes a monster that there's just no escape from. And
he
asks him for help, and he tells him, "You think that's bad?" And then he just throws open a robe he's wearing to reveal women's lingerie.
And I gotta say, Tim Thomerson is surprisingly hot in women's lingerie.
He has a lot of surprising moments in this film much later on.
It's true.
Like when they go to England.
Yeah, we're getting to that point.
So yeah, as it turns out, Mary sent in Dr. Jekyll's, Daniel, her fiance's, research into the Putz Puller prize group. And they are giving him a Putz Puller prize. And so it's put on in jolly old England, and he flies over as Mr. Hyde.
On the top of the plane.
Wait, there's more. He tries taking the money he was given by the Putz Puller Prize Society and showing it off to Ivy because he wanted to celebrate with her and go on a fuck spree, but she doesn't want to because she likes Dr. Daniel Jekyll. And she doesn't really want to keep banging him because her vagina needs a vacation.
Oh, he only won some of the money, like, so far. The rest was going to be presented to him at the Putz Puller Award.
So he goes to an arcade to find her, which is awesome because arcades were popular back in this time. And adults did go to these things.
Remember arcades, kids?
Remember these? He decides to show his identity to her by telling her who he really is. And she can't believe it until he pulls out a classy pair of pantyhose and puts them on his head. And she still can't believe it.
She's going to blow his rotten
point,
guts out.
Sadly, he tries to kill her while playing a racing game, pumping the machine that starts spitting out chickens and hubcaps from the fucking game.
And if you listen to the game, the voices in the game that are coming out, it's like, my chickens! Get off the road!
Very advanced video game for 1980.
It was.
Yeah. So, while Mr. Hyde flies to England on the top of the plane, Ivy takes the train to England.
Yes.
Yes! All the way over the ocean.
All the way over the ocean. They just go real fast. You know?
Yes, exactly. You hardly notice.
Yeah, so she's pursuing him because she wants she basically she wants to kill him. She's got her bear there.
And a pistol.
Yeah. Was it nobody makes a fool out of Ivy Venus?
You can't go in there, lady. It's formal.
So she tries to get into the award ceremony, and Mr. Hyde shows up and accepts the award for his good friend, Dr. Jack Wall.
Couldn't make it because he took a trip up his nose.
Yeah. Maybe you can see him. And he has this amazing song, which I think we're going to have to play at the end. Because
I want to show it to you.
Got to show it to you. It's just fucking amazing.
And the audience is stuffy. They certainly don't want it shown to them. And let us not forget that the
one audience member.
Two, actually. Because Mary is there, his fiance.
Oh, that's and right. She is into Hyde.
With Dr. Tim Thomerson.
Yes, and Tim Thomerson is a lot more into him.
And by the way, Mary is played by Bess Armstrong, who you probably know as the mother from My So-Called Life, or as Catherine Morgan in Jaws 3D.
Huh? Oh, right.
Oh, wait. that was also 1982. She was having a fucking banner year. Shit.
Oh yeah.
High comedy all the way across. Fuck.
Mr. Hyde rips his pants off, throws them into the crowd, and Tim Thomerson catches them and bites into them hard.
and again, the event is presided over by the Queen.
Yes, the literal Queen.
Which is gay guy,
yeah.
But I had Carlo watch this with me the night of my birthday.
On my birthday.
Oh, my boy.
On the night of my birth celebration.
And he really actually enjoyed it, surprisingly. He loved it. And
as he should.
I said, so what did you learn? And he's like, not to take coke in the 80s. And I was like, no, what did you learn about me? And he was like, oh, I learned why you are the way you are today.
Jekyll and Hyde together again is basically the Linda cool test. So if you watch this movie and you weren't into it, you know you can't hang out with Linda.
The movie made us.
You're not cool enough.
And I love that the movie suddenly decides to stop being what it is and go into being a black and white 1950s monster movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
where they begin chasing him as a mad mob through the now
over Victorian England
streets
rooftop.
of ye old London.
Yeah, there's fog and there's gaslight all of a sudden, and they're pulling out all the stops. They're acknowledging the fact that they are doing the most over-adapted story in the history of ever.
Yes. He gets shot in the ass. Gets shot in the ass, and then the film goes back to being in color, back to being in the glorious time it was made. And
but everybody is chasing him because they want to they want to take him down, except for Mary and Tim Thomerson's character, because they want to take him down.
And Ivy, because as we learn at the end, he can turn back into himself. And he talks about how he hated it because he was this rough, sex-starved, crazed animal human being. And Mary loves him. But then he also wants to be the kind, caring, considerate Dr. Hyde or Jekyll. And Ivy wants to be with him.
Yes. And so they share him.
Yes, the women decide they will share him in the evening and they'll have him together at different times during the day. And then we get the wondrous, most beautiful scene that should be in any remake made today in Hollywood. Where you see the grave of the author rolling in his fucking grave.
It's like, you bastards, my story, bastards.
Ruined.
Yeah.
And so Ivy says
it should have had a Scottish accent, but still. Yeah.
Well, Ivy and Mary are just kind of like arguing over him, like, he's my man, he's my man. And they said, wait, I think we could work this out. And Ivy says,
I'll take care of him in the mornings, and I'll take care of him in the afternoons, and we'll share him in the evening.
Yeah. And he's just dazed as they drag him off.
You don't need to reconcile your fucked up split personalities, and you don't need to choose a woman. Just do it all. Always.
Do it all.
And if we're going to offend everyone, what happens with Mr. Tim Thomerson and the Queen?
Oh, he hooks up with the Queen, Your Majesty. He's going to show his royal scepter.
It's like, would you like to come back to the palace and see my royal scepter? Like, oh,
Your Majesty.
Oh.
If you wear ladies' undergarments, you're also gay. That's how it works.
No, the 80s.
1982.
And they also used the F word, not fuck.
The shorter F word.
That's a perfectly good American word.
F-A-T.
Pretty hot.
The most offensive word.
Well, there's a lot of even jokes we didn't even cover. There's also their adopted daughter, the Japanese adopted daughter who writes them and they can't understand a thing she's saying, but it's all about how Japan is going to take over and destroy the U.S. But she thanks them for the comb he sent her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we will drive you capitalist dogs into the street and mark the streets with your blood. Thanks for the comb.
Well, there's a few instances in there where they're like, oh, which kind of Asian is this? They're all the same. Vietnam, Japan, it's all the same place.
I mean, it is unfortunate that like there are a lot of like offensive stuff, especially for Asian people for some reason.
Not if you're
You
so
also-
easygoing.
The less offensive is you also have the continuing joke that he's constantly readjusting his pants. And he's constantly tucking his pants back in.
Why does Jekyll always have his hand down his pants?
And you also have the people from the ambulance going into the hospital. They're all eating handfuls of pills. Like, oh, you gotta try this one. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, just Betty's. Just do a fuckload of Betty's.
Yes, and not Howard Hughes character talking about how he's going to burn the hospital down with her dad inside it.
With him inside,
Piss on the
Bury him in a
ashes.
pit. Bury him in a pit.
it's all
in a pit in front of your whole family.
At the big moment, Jekyll's going to do the surgery, but he changes into Hyde, and he figures out he can change into Hyde without the drugs. And he throws all the organs on the floor, and they get trampled with the liver and the onions and all that stuff. And so Mary's dad there is like, well, there's only one thing to do. So he opens up his outfit and he asks the other doctor to take out his fucking organs and put them in the old man.
You know what to do.
It made me look so fucking crazy because nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about at Nextel. But when we had parties, because we did good, they would always go to fucking Safeway to get like cheese platters and like salami and cuts of meat like that. So I would just grab the plate and go cold
cuts.
like yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well,
I was doing that when I was the president of my club's or my chapter's Toastmasters, and we had to I had to pick out some food for like a big open house membership drive we were doing, and so I was going through Safeway's like catering stuff. I was like, cold cuts. But yeah,
Amy and I can tell you something about why a lot of people don't get the references in this.
Yeah, because again, it's one of those, there's just so many jokes in all different corners. Even when the Japanese cooks are playing poker and they ask them to cut the cards and they pull out a cleaver and actually cut the cards. And they even go with it like pieces of deuces and aces are wild.
There's a lot of like visual gags, and it's funny because Carla was asking like, why is he always picking up his pants? And that was right before the doctor was saying like, hey, Dr. Jekyll, why has he always got his hand on his pants?
And his hands are so steady, and yet he cuts himself shaving.
Oh God, you forgot another fun offensive part. When he's going down the halls as Jekyll and he's just like growling, and a priest shows him a crucifix and he gets scared, and then a rabbi shows him a star.
The Star of David.
It's kind of like in Fearless Vampire Killers, where the lady's holding up the cross when the vampire's coming at her, but he's a Jewish vampire, so it's like, lady, you got the wrong vampire.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of my favorite things, and I don't know why, but it just makes me laugh hysterically every time. It's one of those like small underappreciated parts where toward the beginning, when Mary's dad is explaining to Dr. Jekyll how about the surgery, and there's a nun in the elevator, and she's just been pretty stoic, just sitting there, like not reacting to anything. And then the doors open, and on his way out, he kisses her very passionately and says, "I'll meet you later." And she just kind of looks like, "Oh, okay."
The runner stumbles.
And of course, another Linda favorite, because we reenacted many of these scenes from the movie in our real life, was after one of the organ donors, who decides for the cost of, I think it was $1 million, gives up both his testicles
for that dangling beauties.
Watch
and
it,
we
buddy.
see the man hunched over out of surgery, like, you're a very brave man. And Jekyll comes along, skipping down the halls, and fucking drives his knee right in the guy's crotch.
Watch it, buddy.
Just the look of pure joy Jekyll
And
has.
that guy too, you'll never know his name, but he's like the heavy in so many 70s TV shows and movies.
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Real man's man guy, you know.
That's why he got cast in them parts.
Yeah, they took his parts. Balls! Balls!
I need balls.
Even that whole thing was just weird as fuck. Having a voice box that was just two pairs of lips, and that's what they fed the gas to put him under.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
So you get Cassandra Peterson as the motherfucking Elvira as the nurse. You get Bess Armstrong as Mary. And then you get Krista Erickson as Ivy Venus, who wasn't really in a lot of stuff where you'd recognize her, but she played Cinder in Little Darlings and Maggie in Beverly Hills 90210, if you ever watched that. Mark Blankfield, who played both Jekyll and Hyde, played Blinken in Robin Hood Men in Tights. And he also was in another Mel Brooks film. He played Martin in Dracula Dead and Loving It. And he was a cast member on Fridays. He played Rob in The Incredible Shrinking Woman. And I didn't really watch it much, but maybe you did if you're from our generation. But James in Saved by the Bell and Saved by the Bell, The New Class. But also you have Tim Thomerson as Dr. Newt Lanyon. You probably know him from being motherfucking Tim Thomerson.
He was Jack Death. He's back and he's never been here before. He was the dad in Near Dark, which we covered. You should have listened to that already. And he was also the dad in fucking Iron Eagle. Never say die, Iron Eagle.
He also was the leader of a group out in the desert in Cherry 5000.
From the director
So many
of
full
Miracle
moon
Mile, which you should
features.
also have seen already.
But the writer-director was Jerry Belson, who wrote multiple episodes of The Lucy Show, not I Love Lucy, but The Lucy Show, and The Dick Van Dyke Show, The Odd Couple, and Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Around.
Which is not good.
It's not great, no. It has Sally Field and Dom DeLuise in it.
It has Dom DeLuise.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's true. Whoa. He also directed a couple episodes of The Mary Tyler Moore Show and an episode of one of its many spinoffs, Rhoda. If you have Hulu, I would highly suggest watching The Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's kind of fucking amazing. But he also directed a couple episodes of The Odd Couple. And he was the writer and the director. And the one of the writers was Monica Mcgowan Johnson, who got her start as a writer in an episode of The Paul Lynde Show in 1973. Fucking Paul Lynde, man.
There is a veritable smorgasbord.
Yes, everybody's favorite rat, Templeton. After that, she wrote for 3 episodes of The Mary Tyler Moore Show. She was a writer for Americathon, which I have on my list to watch because it has a lot of amazing people in it and it sounds kind of amazing. But it's all about like, it's kind of like Idiocracy before Idiocracy, and they're holding a telethon to save America. And it has John Ritter in it. And I mean, it has a lot of people in it. Yeah. But anyway, also another writer, Harvey Miller, wrote an episode of the Bob Newhart Show in 1973. Also an amazing fucking show, available on Hulu. And he also wrote Private Benjamin, the movie, and an episode of the short-lived TV show, which I didn't even know was a thing. But apparently.
There was a time there where nearly every movie that made any money, they tried to make a show out of it. They tried to make a Ferris Bueller show. You know.
Yeah, and same like they did with cartoons versus some movies. That
sometimes it was just a cartoon. You know, like they made a Bill and Ted show.
They did a live action television series of Blazing Saddles, but it was never aired, and it was only just so they could retain the rights.
Much like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, which ironically is the best Fantastic Four.
Well, of course, WB wanted to make sequels to Blazing Saddles, and Mel Brooks was like, "Fuck no." Which, by the way, there's talk of History of the World Part 2. So.
Yeah, but there's also talk of them redoing the Blazing Saddles movie too.
He says the sheriff is near.
God. And with that, Harvey Miller also wrote Cannonball Run 2. So you have the writers are
all the Hal Needham sequels. Now get these guys together, and we need Megaforce 2. It's long overdue. And
the writers of Smokey and the Bandit 2 and Cannonball Run
Hooper 2, Stroker Ace 2, The Villain 2.
Then finally, there was another writer, Michael Leeson, who wrote multiple episodes of Happy Days, The Odd Couple, and The Mary Tyler Moore Show, as well as all of its spinoffs. Well, both of its spinoffs, including Rhoda and Phyllis.
Did you read about a little bit of the history of the screenplay of this here?
No, I did not.
So this is a Paramount picture. This is actually from a major studio. And at this point in time, the president of Paramount Pictures, we mentioned Disney earlier, was Michael Eisner.
Oh, boy.
Michael Eisner actually was one of the people who championed this script. He really wanted to get it made.
That's surprising.
Which is actually a hilarious irony, because just a few years before this, he had actually tried to kill Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
That sounds about right.
So he's like, oh, we can't have any of that dirty weed, but cocaine, that's a nice, clean society drug. Eisner's kind of a motherfucker.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, in so many ways. So he's like one of those people who prides himself on like being an advocate for gay people. And yet, when they were making Bruce Beresford's King David movie with fucking Richard Gere, Eisner's like, oh, you can't let him go in that costume, that historically accurate costume. The audiences are going to find it all faggoty. This movie's going to bomb on account of that faggoty costume.
Oh,
yeah, and check this out.
Nice.
Yeah, and 20 years later, they're doing the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and Eisner's like, why is Jack Sparrow acting that way? He's acting all faggoty. This is gonna bomb just like that King David movie did. Oh God, it's all gonna go to hell.
God damn it.
He's an asshole.
Speaking of, do we want to know anything about something from Amy?
Yeah, I want to hear about Amy. Amy? Amy, what happened? What did you do? Amy, this is serious. Damn it! Where is it, Amy? Where is my money? I know, right? Yeah, well,
where is it?
Yeah, well, this movie didn't really show the money, sadly. This is why nobody knew what Donnie was saying when he said cold cuts, because this one, unfortunately, like there was all kinds of stuff like what wanted to be Airplane around then. You know, there was like Ricky 1, and there was this, but this was budgeted at $5 million, and it came out on October 1st of 1982. And the box office was only $3,792,188, and that's all over the world. This actually opened at number 8, which is sad because it was actually the only movie in its first week that weekend. Number 1 was E.T. in its 17th week. Stop fucking watching E.T. already, you bitches. Number 2 was An Officer and the Gentleman in its 10th week. Number 3 was Amityville 2: The Possession, which is a huge piece of shit.
Woof.
and that was in its 2nd week. Then Fast Times at Ridgemont High in its 8th week. Okay, actually a good movie. Then Pink Floyd: The Wall. Like, fuck you. Then Paul Mazursky's Tempest with John Cassavetes, which is a movie that's buried by history, but has an early appearance by Molly Ringwald and Raul Julia.
Oh, damn.
Number 7 was The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Shit, yeah.
And it's
I was
11th
just
week.
thinking about that today. I was thinking, like, you know what really burns my ass? 2-foot candle. You know what else does?
I own that movie on CED.
Oh my God, I was like this close to being able to play her part on stage. Makes me sad.
After that, we get Rocky 3 in its 15th week, and The World According to the Garp. Yes, Giorgio, which is a relic with fucking what's it? Pavarotti. Pavarotti tried to do a movie called Yes, Giorgio.
Wow.
He is a tenor who loses his voice, and it's supposed to be romantic and funny.
Oh boy.
Then Night Shift. Remember Night Shift?
Oh
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And number 13 was a reissue of Star Wars: A New Hope, which was, making money all over again.
Wow.
And that's the 1982 box office right there in October.
Nice.
So,
I'd also like to mention that the nurse who delivers the telegram saying that he's been selected for the Putz Puller Prize.
The Putz Puller, yeah.
Was Lynn Shay from all those Insidious movies.
Yep. She was a very good character actress in the day. And
She really is.
I have a permanent heart
She
on.
also
Now what
was
can
in
you give me?
the one of the Nightmare on Elm Street films too as a teacher, I believe. But
Oh, yeah, she was.
Yeah. But she also had the best part too, which we didn't talk about, was Jekyll is having issues. She's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I have an erection that never goes away, no matter how many times I do it." It's like, "What can you give me?" And she reaches in her purse. She's like, "I got like $5 or something."
in my wedding ring.
Yeah, and my wedding
Yeah,
ring.
like bus fare.
And she keeps like offering more and more stuff.
Yeah, she wants to be a
Please,
slave.
Just take me. I'm trash.
Yes.
It's amazing.
movie
But
is a
also in one of those iffy moments, like the is this racist moments?
Take the kids out of the room, guys.
Mary and her dad, they live in a I guess a manor that has
A mansion
two lawn jockeys. And
played by actual. Go ahead. Say it.
black midgets or black
Little people?
little people.
Wow.
And one of them is Tony Cox, who you might know as Dink from Spaceballs or as Marcus from Bad Santa.
Yes, he's been in many
Holy
movies.
shit. That's okay.
Yeah.
It was an adult joke for us adults.
Adults.
Yeah.
But
Movie is for adults.
luckily,
Oh.
I don't think a lot of people would get the joke there today because luckily not many people have lawn jockeys anymore.
There still are a few. They're just not as offensive. So
If you're hovering
I
around
have
40 like
gnomes.
us, you should watch this movie.
yes. And another scene that me and Linda recreated many times in our parents' van as a kid because it had a sunroof was when he steals a car from a woman who uses mace on his
Jaguar.
face, and then he uses it for a breath freshener.
Yeah.
He shoves her head through the sunroof as she's screaming, and everyone
Yeah.
pulls
Like a
over out of their
ambulance.
way because they think it's an ambulance. Yeah.
Yeah, she just goes by them and her head's sticking out because he closed the automatic thing on, like trapping her head in there. Just Either way, it's a fucking treasure. You can buy or rent
gotta
it. May as well buy it on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of conflicted about giving Amazon money, but
That's your
But it's
personal
still-
agenda.
That guy had to get to space somehow.
Yeah, he's got penis ships now.
Rocket ships were
They're
always
called
penises.
cock
It's
rockets.
fine.
But I can tell you, there are not people that enjoyed this movie as much as we did.
What? Donnie?
What?
Say it ain't so.
oh, people were not kind to this, but there actually weren't that many people that didn't like it, so that's a good thing.
Right.
Okay, so kind of stupid. Very disappointed as I felt the concept had a lot of potential. Good idea, just poorly conceived and written. Huh? When I watched this movie, I knew it was going to be a comedy spin-off of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of sorts. But come on, Jekyll as a junkie. Really? Anyway, there were some funny parts, but the rest of the movie seesawed between good enough movie to bad 60s drug snort fest. I don't recommend getting this movie. One person found that helpful. One person. I don't like this at all. It only got 1 star because I can't leave none. Actors and script, awful. To me, an absolute waste of shelf space. I know it's a skit and not to be taken seriously, but even so, it was terrible. I admit I only bought it because George Chakiris was in it, but he was there for all of 10 seconds, so it was hardly worth it.
He's
Sorry.
the special host for the celebrity host for the Putz Puller.
Yeah.
Project.
Yes. Like, sorry, but not be positive. He literally says this. It's another translation. Sorry, not be positive, but I can't of anything good to say.
Wow.
We will say that again so you know you're not having a stroke. Sorry not to be positive, but I can't of anything good to say. Maybe it would work as a coaster.
Jesus.
Oh, wait, hold that, Jesus, because you're going to need some religion here soon. We got a dissertation written by another profound reviewer of our generation.
We got a really important person here, guys.
Is it a dishwasher clown?
You never know.
Oh, go for it.
A long time ago, way back in the early 80s, a late-night TV show, Fridays, came to ABC, trying to steal the limelight away from NBC's badly listing Saturday Night Live. It didn't do, but it did introduce some repugnant sketches and semi-talented comedians to the world, like Mark Blankfield, for example, which in a roundabout way brings us to Jekyll and Hyde together again.
Fridays also had Michael Richardson.
Repugnant in ways all its own. Blankfield is about as subtle as a pew full of whoopee cushions going off after communion, and about as tasteful too. This is just his drugged-out druggist character he played on the ill-fated Friday show, stretch out to feature length. And if you didn't like him there, why are you reading this review? Then when it goes for dunder-headed jokes that would get you thrown off every improv stage in the Western Hemisphere and replaced gags with gross-outs, things can only get worse. Aside from a few, very few gags that give a slight grin, this whole film is an exercise in waste. Wasted actors, wasted film, wasted opportunities. No wonder they showed original author Stevenson. He actually spaced that. Stevenson.
Steven's son.
Turning in his grave. What more
Like
observant a review could they give themselves?
Stella Stevenson. Andrew
No
Stevenson.
stars. No, not even for Armstrong, who should have known better. Hide from this one.
Oh, I see.
Hello,
what you
Internet.
did
Did
there.
you like that
60
little
years old.
jab? His little literary jab.
Ah!
That had the boys in the clinic rolling.
Oh, Lord.
You've never seen this show called Fridays, so I'm going to learn you all about it to complain about it.
Yeah, but it had Michael Richardson. I don't know. I get it mixed up all the time,
Oh,
but
wait,
he's the
that's-
one who played Kramer in Seinfeld.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say, is that
UHF.
The
other
also
guy?
offensive comedian.
Hey, he had a bit of a whoopsie doodle.
I
It's
really
funny
like
how that
Evergreen alum.
teeters.
I liked Dave Chappelle's take on that when he was at the same comedy club. He's like, every time I see this logo, I think of Kramer fucking up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, love that Chappelle.
Last thing I'm going to say about the cast members is that Michael Mcguire, who played the Diddy, and I think you briefly mentioned him. He was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you'll recognize him. He gets around. Yeah.
And including 20 episodes of Dark Shadows, the original, as Judah Zachary.
Willie boy.
He was in a couple episodes of my favorite story arc in Golden Girls, and I remember rewatching it going, so happy about that. And he's just been, he's been in so fucking much, you guys. Like Major Dad, Empty Nest. And he was in The West Wing, but it was only like, I think one episode. But that was another moment where I was like, but yeah, a lot of stuff.
Lots of
stuff.
Mazel
tov. Yeah. So, do you guys feel like you're ready to play doctor like Dr. Jekyll?
More than meets the eye.
I'll go first. I want a sequel showing us what their lives were like after. I want to see like the everyday sort of thing. I want like a documentary style one where like it's something
you just want to see them fucking. You want to see that three-way fucking right there.
I want to see them titties.
I want to see something kind of like in the same vein as Sister Wives. Like something on the Learning Channel or something.
I thought you were going to say Sister Act.
Back in the habit. But I want to see Mary and Ivy sharing Jekyll and Hyde. I want to see I want to see Dr. Jekyll basically retiring from surgery to focus on research, but also he pools his money and Mary's money that she inherits from her dad dying, and decides to retire by getting a Chrysler dealership. So Hyde gets
it's a stressful job.
Hyde gets to be the Chrysler dealer. And I want to see Dr. Newt's gay misadventures and him finding himself. And I want to see him fucking. And I particularly,
guys.
I don't care how old he is right now. I want to see Tim Thomerson nudie. I mean, I want what I want. The heart wants what the heart wants. You can't help it. I also want to see the fate of Mary's father, which I'm assuming that he died in that surgery.
No, the roles are reversed. Now he needs a total transplant.
Because they give him all of what was this character's name? Hubert Humphrey's failing organs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hubert
Howes, that's it. Thank you.
They had to go somewhere.
What about you, Don Don?
I just would like to state I didn't even watch this movie because I have seen it so many goddamn times.
You could draw it from memory.
That I got excited and had to tell the family when I saw it on Blu-ray. On fucking Blu-ray.
I remember when we first, like a little after we first moved to Port Orchard, there was the video store was going out of business, go figure. And they had the VHS of it. And I think
was that the one that you showed me?
I actually have, and I should pull it out for this, or we'll put up a screenshot. I have an unopened VHS of that movie. I just loved it that fucking much. But
Yeah.
no, this was like recent. I got this like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But My Script Doctor is a TV series because weekly fun is always best. And yes, Mary inherited her father's money, but she made the mistake of letting Daniel take over it, and that means letting Jekyll take over it. So, yeah, Hyde and Daniel decide to do something wonderful with that money. Dr. Daniel Jekyll decides to open a brothel and underground abortion clinic in the Lower East Side of Detroit, where he works during the day helping ladies with their unwanted problems, and in the evening, Jekyll helps to give them what will later become their unwanted problems. He's his own best and worst customer. Tune in weekly for Jekyll and Hyde's Reload and Unload Brothel of Laughs, directed by David Kirshner.
You could have
But
a
he
theme
also-
song sung by Mr. Hyde called Bun in the Oven.
Yes.
He also helps women remove foreign objects
Nightly.
from
And it's
their
a running gag.
VAGINA.
It's kind of like Batman, where the foreign object is always going to be some celebrity that just pops up at random moments. But it'll be
Yeah.
kind of like Sven Gulli, where they're only there for like a skit and that's it.
This is some building. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr. lives here.
Oh, yes. And
Well,
so
hello, Cape
did,
Crusader and Boy Wonder.
yes, and so did the Green Hornet. Oh,
Well, hello, Nicolas Cage.
Those were
Hello.
the days.
Adrian, what do you have?
got,
Netflix
boo-boo?
presents a bingeable production. We see a sickly young boy in his bed in Scotland, and his nurse come by and he tells his nurse these stories, and the young boy, of course, is an age regressed Eddie Redmayne, and he tells her a spoopy tale about a scary old man, scary balding old man. People fear him, and he is powerful. And he's Bruce Dern.
Oh, shit.
And he needs to be taken apart piece by piece. And he needs to be rebuilt piece by piece. And intercut with this frightening old man, terrifying all around him, we see a dark bedroom with two whispering people talking about in hushed English accents how they cannot satisfy one another because he just can't, 19th century style, get it up. And only at the end of the first 6 hours of this long ass fucking season with like no lighting and nothing happening do we learn that his name is Jekyll.
You can't get it up. Spoofy.
Netflix presents The Demolished Man, a tale of the good old time.
I mean, we are recording this the day before Halloween. It's spooky season.
Adrian's got the shakes. Never mind that.
I did just have my sugar-free energy beverage. I'm trying to lose a few.
We had to dress up. Well, we didn't have to, but we could dress up yesterday at my work for Halloween. So I wore my what I lovingly call my slanket that our friend Kristen got for me one year.
Really?
It's this like huge like sweater with this awesome like pocket that's big enough to hold cats, and I have, and it's got a hoodie. So I told
Is that cat
everybody
swinging around at the front of your thing?
I told everybody that I was either Christian Slater in Name of the Rose, or I was Marlon Brando in his final winter.
Oh. Well, acting's no big deal.
Should have had a bucket of ice on my head. Or a bowl. Oh, buddy. So, yeah, I feel like we covered this.
I hope so. Like,
It's obscure as
majestically.
fuck. Hipsters, go watch it.
There's still a lot
It
we
is.
didn't even talk about, but it's just like so many jokes in the movie that
Yes,
you just
Yeah,
have
well,
to be there to watch.
It is that Zucker style. It's the machine gun. It's like there's a lot of shit crammed in there. And you might miss it the first time, so watch it again.
We liked it before it was cool.
We
Hipsters.
did. We were like, I was like 2 years old when this came out, and we started watching it growing up. So yeah,
This is an oldie, but we were all alive for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 3 months old, but yeah.
Your kids are gonna love it.
Just show it to your
kids are
fucking kids. Don't contextualize any of it.
It's an oldie where I'm
would,
from.
I would like to also, while we're at it, propose a toast to our mom and dad who did not put any filters on what we watched.
Bless
for
their
the
hearts.
better or worse, who knows?
I bless their names.
No taking it back now.
Oh, yeah.
God, I don't know what that is.
Damage is
It's
done.
kind of like piss and tea, but
Is that your pee bucket or?
no, it's a cup that was behind the dumpster, and that's why I'm trying to figure out if it's mostly pee or if it's just enough tea that it makes up for the pee.
Well,
Mountain Dew.
if it's got like shit growing in it, don't throw that part away. That shit's kombucha right there.
Well, yeah, it's organic. That's why I'm drinking
Yeah.
it. I want to lose a few pounds too, like you.
Yeah.
Just get yourself a Bronx parasite. Yeah.
Yeah, that Bronx parasite diet, the chicken skin diet's really paying off.
I won, Frylock, I won.
Do you think we can like offer that on our Patreon?
Yes, I will sell it. We'll do that on eBay. We'll eBay this cup for a starting bid of $10,000.
I was saying like we could get a Bronx parasite.
Oh,
Yours
yeah.
for only $13.90 or 4 installments of $13.95.
With a $40 shipping.
Give me some more of that funnel cake.
This ain't kid stuff, people. We're adults.
Some exclusions apply.
We're very mature around here.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. That one
So I guess now's the time. I say please
Now.
listen, rate, and review Videorama on whatever platform you're listening to, especially over on Apple Podcasts. Even if you're not listening to us on Apple Podcasts, it really helps because it's some bullshittery with the algorithm that helps people find us because your reviews will help boost us to the top. It will support us like a bra.
Just write a comment or something, even if you don't mean it.
You can even say like, these dishwasher clowns don't know how sex works, and I'm afraid for Aaron Eckhart's safety.
You're right that. Yeah.
Fucking loved it. 5 out of 5. Would recommend.
He called her a very bad name, and he said, I hate her. I wish she were dead.
But it really does help us. And if you do, I will give you a shout out on air, and we will do a little ritual in your honor after hours when we're about ready to close up.
Yeah, if we get 50, then maybe we actually will fulfill our promise of returning to reviewing the newest Cage films. But we have to have 50 reviews.
Shh, don't call it a promise. Our lawyers say we aren't supposed to say that it was a promise.
I will never die.
That's a Canon Pro promise.
Yes, it is. But while you're at it, also check out our stuff on YouTube and check out our stuff on Patreon at patreon.com Videorama Pod. And if you become a patron, there's a bunch of nifty stuff on there that you can get, including buttons, stickers, bonus episodes, which we actually just created a spoopy one. It's not that spoopy, but it's a helpful one.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's
It's certainly a thing. But you can also at one point you can get an awesome Adrian doodle. Adrian's artwork is fucking rad, so check it out.
Artwork.
It's awesome. But also you can, at a certain level, you can even recommend a theme, a movie, or you could show up as a guest. Come on and do it, man.
Yeah, make us watch a thing.
But even just for, a couple dollars a month, it helps us immensely because it feeds Donnie. I mean, look at him. He's supposed to be taking out our trash. He's not taking out our trash. That's fucking Arby's, you guys. So please,
They should never have done that larger, Reuben. It was a crime.
For just dollars a month, you can help this poor Donnie.
Won't you help?
For heaven's sake, let the boy sleep in your bed.
Donnie, give all the ASPCA sad dog poses you can do. Start shaking.
In the arms of the angel, far away.
Poor Donnie can't even afford to eat. He has to go. Okay, so he chooses to go to the dumpster every evening.
The dumpster chose me.
Dumpster life with Donnie. I just thought of a new segment. So remember, you can find Videorama on Twitter at Videorama P. That's the letter P, not P-E. You can visit our website at videoramapod.com, or you could write to us at videoramapod at gmail.com. Also, you can visit our Twitter account at, I said that. Anyway,
Where?
If you check out our Twitter account, if you check out our Twitter account, you can vote on your favorite movie from the recommendations for last month, which was Killer Dolls. Was it? I can't remember anymore.
Yes, it was. I was
Killer
thinking who
Dolls.
won for when we did the Reality is the Nightmare.
Oh.
Is that Chris?
Man, for Killer
Yes.
Dolls, I should have just done Valley of the Dolls.
God damn you and your loose interpretations. No.
Damn it! No, just give me another doll.
That's a bad co-host. Brad.
Oh.
Just give me another doll.
I'll plant my own tree and I'll make
sweet
it grow.
We almost made it, folks.
But yeah, you could take part in the poll and vote for your favorite, and you can be a part of history. I'm checking furiously. Okay, who knows? But right now we have pinned. It was Chris's choice, From Beyond, from 1986. Makes sense, right? Oh, yeah, that was for Reality is the Nightmare.
Yes.
So also check out my other podcast about witches and history and stories of all media. Bedknobs and Broomflicks. Remember,
bad witches and bad bitches.
Fuck right.
Yeah.
We're sisters for life, son. That's Bedknobs and Broomflicks. Broomflicks spelled Broomflicks. You know we're great because we got the licks at the end. Also you could check me out and check out Donnie in the second episode of the second season of Four's a Crowd. I play Mrs. Halverson, and Donnie plays a couple characters in that.
Chadwick.
Yes, Chadwick and
Troy.
Troy. Chadwick of Troy. And Adrian, I should say also in Broomflicks, we just covered The Worst Witch with Tim Curry. The original one, the one where all witches are wet for Tim Curry, which is like obviously true to life.
That's just reality.
So Adrian.
Oh, you know me. I'm on the deviantart.com with my stories and my artworks and my pictures and my things. And by now, the Halloween issue of Dreadful Tales is up. So you should definitely check that out. Dreadful Tales has been going strong for 6 years now. That's our 35th issue. We've got a new author in there, too. You should definitely pop by and look at that. I'm on DeviantArt again, is Leo the Fox. You probably knew that already if you listened to any two of these. Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah.
Oh, my.
I draw a lot of dudes without any clothes on.
True.
What do I need those for, anyway?
You can check out his cage art on our website at the old website, cageskiss.com, which will take you to all of our podcasts, Videorama, Cage's Kiss, obviously, and Broomflix. And you can also check out Donnie's reviews there. And speaking of Don Waldio, what you got going on, Donnie?
It has been a month. I'm wrapping up the reviews for this month of Halloween, which have all been video store oddities and hard to find fun films. We're now down to the final two, and it's going to be fun. I also am on the Twitter under the Unreal Goals, which you can also find me on YouTube, because as of in a couple hours, I will finally be releasing the goddamn project I've been working on for 3.5 fucking weeks of a part of an anthology series we're doing as an audio play, which features the voice work of Mr. Josh Williams of Well Dadgum Pod, who's also on Forza Crowd, and another friend of our show who's been a longtime contributor, Mr. The Vern of Cinema Recall.
Oh.
So we got that finally coming out my butt. And as you can see behind me, the dumpsters of Arby's is where you can find me. So if you find a cup with some stuff that's questionable, it could be piss, it could be tea, but all I know is it's what's for Donnie. So yeah, that's all I got going on for me.
Donnie party. God damn it.
Oh, they got
it's gonna be a TP party tonight.
Next week, Adrian will be sharing his recommendation.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
And
Michael Eisner shot a kid.
Michael Eisner, probably. I mean,
was the kid fat?
God, Donnie, stop! You're gonna get us canceled. Also, our attorneys want me to say that we do not believe that Michael Eisner actually shot a kid. We
also do not condone my behavior.
My attorney looks like Father Time. He has a giant pocket watch and a long flowing white beard, and he's waving for me to follow him over the sand dune. So I think I'm going to do that now.
We do not condone drinking anything you find in or near dumpsters. But also, death to Videorama, long live the new flesh. Shall we hear